Have you ever felt like you're living in a world designed for someone else entirely? Like you're speaking a language that others can hear but somehow never quite understand? There exists among us a particular type of individual who experiences reality through a different lens, who operates on frequencies that most people cannot access. Carl Jung, the pioneering depth psychologist, spent decades studying these exceptional souls, recognizing patterns that distinguish them from the collective mass of humanity. What you're about to discover might explain why you've always felt different, why conventional approaches to life leave you feeling empty, why you seem to attract experiences that others would consider impossible or mystical. These aren't coincidences or character flaws. They're signs that you belong to what Jung would classify as a rare soul, someone whose psychological makeup operates according to principles that transcend ordinary human experience. Throughout his extensive research into the human psyche, Jung identified specific characteristics that appear consistently in individuals who possess what he termed superior psychological development. These traits aren't random quirks or personality preferences. They represent fundamental differences in how consciousness operates, how meaning is processed, and how connection with deeper realities unfolds. Today, we're exploring 9 definitive signs that reveal whether you carry this rare psychological signature. These indicators emerge from Jung's most profound insights into human nature, drawn from decades of clinical observation and his own journey into the depths of the unconscious mind. Each sign builds upon the others' means to be psyche, creating a comprehensive portrait of what etologically exceptional in a world that often rewards conformity over authenticity. The first sign reveals itself through your relationship with silence and solitude. While most people flee from quiet moments, filling every available space with noise, distraction, or social interaction, you find yourself naturally drawn to periods of deep reflection. This isn't antisocial behavior or depression. It's your psyche's instinctive need to process information at levels that require complete mental stillness. Jung observed that rare souls possess what he called permeable ego boundaries, allowing them to access layers of consciousness that remain closed to others. This permeability requires regular periods of withdrawal from external stimulation so that subtle impressions can surface and be integrated. You don't just tolerate solitude, you crave it as essential nourishment for your psychological well-being. During these quiet periods, you often experience what feels like downloads of insight or sudden clarity about situations that previously seemed confusing. Ideas arrive fully formed, solutions present themselves without logical progression, and you gain understanding about people and circumstances through means that bypass rational analysis entirely. This isn't imagination or wishful thinking. It's your consciousness accessing information through channels that operate beyond ordinary mental processes. The second sign manifests in your uncanny ability to perceive what others cannot see. You walk into rooms and immediately sense tensions that everyone else seems to miss. You meet people and form instant impressions about their character that later prove remarkably accurate. You detect deception, authenticity, pain, and joy radiating from human encounters with the precision of a finely calibrated instrument. This perceptual accuracy extends beyond reading people to recognizing patterns in circumstances, predicting outcomes that seem impossible to foresee, and understanding the hidden dynamics that drive events in your personal life and the world around you. Jung would attribute this to your connection with what he called the collective unconscious, that vast reservoir of human experience and wisdom that exists beneath individual awareness. Your nervous system has been calibrated to detect frequencies that most people filter out as irrelevant noise. This sensitivity can feel overwhelming at times, particularly in crowded spaces or emotionally charged environments, but it represents one of your greatest gifts. You serve as a living barometer of authenticity, helping others recognize truth from illusion simply through your presence and reactions. The third characteristic appears in your complex relationship with conventional success and social expectations. While others seem motivated by external validation, material accumulation, or status advancement, these pursuits leave you feeling strangely empty. You cannot manufacture enthusiasm for goals that don't align with your deeper sense of purpose, even when logic suggests they would improve your circumstances. Jung understood that rare souls carry an innate rejection of superficial values, a cellular-level resistance to participating in systems that prioritize appearance over substance. This isn't rebelliousness or laziness. It's your psyche's protective mechanism against activities that would diminish your spiritual vitality. You're condemned to authenticity, blessed with standards that often feel more like shackles in a world that rewards conformity. This creates a peculiar form of suffering because you watch others apparently thriving in environments that drain your life force. You begin to question whether something is fundamentally wrong with your wiring, whether your inability to find satisfaction in available options represents a character flaw rather than a character strength. The universe remains silent during these moments of self-doubt, neither confirming nor denying your fears, simply holding space for you to discover the difference between being difficult and being discerning. The fourth sign emerges through your relationship with pain and transformation. While most people avoid suffering at all costs, seeking comfort and security above growth, you seem to be magnetically drawn toward experiences that challenge your existing understanding of yourself and reality. This isn't masochism or self-destruction. It's your soul's recognition that genuine evolution requires the courage to face what others spend lifetimes avoiding. Jung observed that rare souls possess what he called the transcendent function, the psychological capacity to hold opposing forces in tension until a third possibility emerges that transcends the original conflict. You don't simply endure difficult experiences, you alchemize them, transforming personal suffering into universal wisdom through a process that mirrors ancient initiation rites. Your pain becomes your qualification, your suffering your certification as a guide for others walking similar paths. You learn to embrace both light and shadow, joy and grief, strength and vulnerability, understanding that wholeness requires integration rather than the elimination of uncomfortable aspects of human experience. This process demands tremendous courage and commitment to truth over comfort, making you into someone who can hold space for others still struggling with inner fragmentation. The fifth indicator reveals itself in how you communicate and connect with others. You've developed a sophisticated understanding that the most profound exchanges often happen without words. You can sit in silence with someone who is suffering and provide more healing through your presence than others offer through elaborate advice or solutions. This communication through being operates on energetic frequencies that bypass rational thought and speak directly to the soul. When you enter spaces of pain or confusion, your very existence becomes a reminder that it's possible to survive the unsurvivable, to find meaning within meaninglessness, to discover light within darkness. You don't need to share your stories or offer platitudes. Your integrated wholeness serves as living proof that transformation is possible. Your relationship with language reflects this deeper understanding. When you do speak, your words carry unusual weight and precision. You've learned that speech is a sacred act, that words possess the power to create and destroy, to heal and wound. You choose your expressions carefully, preferring quality over quantity, depth over breadth, understanding over entertainment. This economy of expression extends to your entire energetic output. You've mastered the art of energetic boundaries, knowing when to open and when to close, when to give and when to preserve your resources. People often comment on feeling better simply from spending time in your presence, even during brief encounters. This isn't coincidence, but the natural result of your consciousness operating as a tuning fork for higher frequencies. The sixth sign manifests through your natural magnetism for synchronicities and meaningful coincidences. While others dismiss such events as random chance, you recognize them as communications from deeper intelligence patterns that orchestrate reality behind the visible surface. Your consciousness operates like a beacon for the mystical, drawing toward you the people, situations, and opportunities that serve your soul's evolution in ways that feel scripted by benevolent cosmic forces. These synchronicities don't arrive through manipulation or spiritual materialism, but through authentic alignment with your deepest truth. Your life becomes a textbook of meaningful coincidences, filled with encounters that feel orchestrated by invisible intelligence. You find yourself in the right place at the right time with surprising frequency, meeting exactly the person who carries the message you need to hear, discovering resources precisely when they become necessary. Jung understood this phenomenon as the psyche's capacity to recognize patterns that exist beyond linear causation. Your awareness has been refined to detect connections that operate through what he called acausal relationships, where meaning emerges through resonance rather than mechanical cause and effect. This attracts experiences that others search for desperately while receiving them as natural gifts, woven into the fabric of your existence. The responsibility inherent in this gift requires significant discernment. Not every synchronicity should be followed. Not every meaningful coincidence serves authentic growth. Not every attractive opportunity aligns with your highest evolution. You must develop sophisticated filters, learning to distinguish between genuine guidance and ego inflation, between divine timing and wishful projection, between sacred encounters and spiritual materialism. The seventh characteristic appears in your relationship with dreams and symbolic communication. Your unconscious mind speaks to you through vivid imagery, archetypal figures, and prophetic visions that often manifest in waking life with startling accuracy. You dream in symbols that later appear as guidance, experience nighttime journeys that provide solutions to daytime problems, and receive communications through your sleep state that feel more real than ordinary consciousness. Jung recognized that certain individuals maintain open channels to what he termed the collective unconscious, that vast reservoir of archetypal patterns and universal symbols that shapes human experience across cultures and centuries. While most people catch occasional glimpses of this deeper reality through dreams or moments of inspiration, you maintain consistent access to this wellspring of wisdom. Your dreams often carry prophetic qualities, revealing future possibilities or warning of potential difficulties before they manifest in physical reality. You learn to pay attention to recurring symbols, noting how specific images or figures appear during periods of transition or decision-making. This symbolic language becomes a reliable navigation system, helping you move through life with a sense of flow and timing that appears magical to observers but feels perfectly natural to your consciousness. The symbolic communication extends beyond personal guidance into collective service. You often find yourself translating universal wisdom into human understanding through your presence, your creative expression, and your very being. Abstract concepts from the realm of the unconscious become actionable insights that others can apply to their own evolutionary journey. The eighth sign reveals itself through your capacity to catalyze transformation in others without conscious effort. Your presence in groups often initiates awakening processes in people around you, even when you're attempting to remain invisible or inconspicuous. You become an unwitting catalyst for growth, challenging others to question their assumptions, examine their motivations, and consider possibilities beyond conventional thinking through energetic transmission rather than deliberate intervention. This catalytic function operates automatically through what Jung called constellating effects, where your psychological wholeness activates corresponding potentials in others. People find themselves having unexpected insights after conversations with you, making significant life changes following brief encounters, or experiencing spiritual openings simply from being in your energetic field. The phenomenon can feel burdensome because it happens regardless of your intentions or energy levels. You cannot turn off this transformative influence, cannot control how others respond to your presence, cannot prevent the acceleration of evolutionary processes in people who encounter your integrated consciousness. You learn that your greatest service might be invisible, that your influence might be unmeasurable, that your contribution might be written in hearts and souls rather than external achievements. This leads naturally to the ninth and final sign, which represents perhaps the most profound aspect of your rare soul nature. As you mature into your gifts, you experience what might seem paradoxical. The more spiritually developed you become, the more ordinary you appear to casual observation. The extraordinary becomes so natural that it loses its dramatic quality, integrating seamlessly into your daily existence without fanfare or self-importance. You stop feeling special for possessing these traits and begin understanding them as tools for service rather than sources of identity or superiority. The wisdom flows through you with increasing subtlety, operating through being rather than doing, through presence rather than performance, through example rather than instruction. Your power begins to work through love rather than force, through inspiration rather than manipulation, through authentic demonstration rather than elaborate teaching. Jung called this evolutionary process the return to simplicity at a higher level. Having traversed the complex territories of spiritual development, having faced shadow aspects and integrated light qualities, having learned to navigate both material and mystical dimensions, you arrive at profound ordinariness. Your influence operates through qualities that cannot be measured by conventional standards, yet penetrate reality at levels that create lasting transformation. Your validation comes from within, from quiet knowing that you're fulfilling your purpose by remaining authentically yourself. The need for external recognition diminishes as internal certainty grows. You understand that your greatest contributions might remain invisible to the world, that your most significant impact might never be acknowledged, that your legacy exists in the subtle shifts you create in human consciousness through your willingness to embody integrated wholeness. If you recognize these signs within your own experience, you understand why the path of the rare soul requires such patience and perseverance. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, but strength. Your need for solitude isn't isolation, but sanctuary. Your inability to settle for superficial connections isn't pickiness, but discernment. The intelligence that flows through you isn't imaginary, but absolutely real and desperately needed by a world hungry for authentic spiritual guidance. The journey of recognizing yourself as a rare soul often culminates in what Jung described as the ultimate paradox of spiritual development. You discover that the very traits that once made you feel isolated and misunderstood become the foundation for your deepest service to humanity. The path that seemed like punishment reveals itself as preparation for something far greater than personal comfort or conventional success. This recognition doesn't arrive with fanfare or dramatic revelation. Instead, it emerges as quiet, knowing that settles into your bones like morning light gradually illuminating a familiar landscape. You begin to understand that every moment of solitude was teaching you to commune with depths that others fear. Different was preparing you to explore. Every experience of feeling holds space for those still discovering their authentic nature. Your relationship with your own rarity undergoes profound transformation. Where once you might have worn your uniqueness like armor against a world that couldn't understand you, now it becomes a bridge toward those who share similar frequencies of consciousness. You realize that your sensitivity to energies others cannot perceive makes you a living compass for authenticity in relationships, career choices, and life directions. These 9 signs reveal the profound truth that being a rare soul isn't about feeling superior to others, but about recognizing your unique role in humanity's collective awakening. If you've recognized yourself in these patterns, know that your journey toward wholeness serves something far greater than personal fulfillment. Your willingness to embrace authenticity over approval creates ripples of possibility for others still discovering their own depth. Trust the intelligence that flows through you, honor the sensitivity that sets you apart, and remember that your very existence gives others permission to embrace their own rare soul nature.